Hello and welcome to our review for the seventh episode of the seventh season of the 100. We just got done watching Queen's Gambit, and I have to admit, I feel like it was a missed opportunity. It wasn't the worst episode that they've ever had, but it definitely could have had more parallels with that. I think it's a book called The Queen's Gambit, is that correct?
Well, yeah, it's a book and a chess move.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that part makes sense. But the book itself is about, one of the first, really amazing female chess players and her whole life story. And when I heard that that was the name of the episode, I got really excited because I was like, ooh, who's going to be the queen? Who's going to have the great backstory? Like, are we going to get some flashbacks? Because there's been a lot of those
Mm-hmm.
this season. And we did get some flashbacks, but I don't know. It wasn't really what I was hoping for. Honestly, I was hoping for Indra backstory.
Yeah.
um,
It seemed likely because they talked a little bit about her parents with Shade Haida, and I
yeah,
think the last episode or one of the more recent ones. So
yeah. It was like the last or second to last the fifth
yeah,
or sixth episode.
I was pretty convinced that was the direction this episode was gonna go.
Yeah, and we did get some the tiniest little bit of Emori backstory, kind of.
Yeah.
And I think she was supposed to be the queen,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also just an aggressive chess move. So
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. I don't know. I felt a little bit let down by this episode. I thought it was a little bit scattered, that there was they kind of went from place to place without really connecting everything together.
Yeah.
And it really, to me, felt like the whole episode was a means to an end, which
Mm-hmm.
was Clark arriving and them
Yeah.
getting the key.
They drew it out. They drew
Yeah.
it out because, honestly, that ceremony and all that storyline could have been done in 20 minutes. Everything in this episode could have really been condensed down to 20 minutes, which is so weird when you compare it to that other episode that felt like two, and they just had so much story coming at you so quickly. And I don't really understand why they would have such a compact episode like that and then such a if empty filler episode not that long after. I feel like they could have moved some of the scenes around to tell that story a little bit better.
Well, I don't know about that. I think they just could have done a little bit better job of, either giving some backstory to some of the characters we've been watching for a while, or
Yeah.
I don't know, something that wasn't that. And not to say it was a terrible episode or anything.
Mhm.
It was fine. There were parts that were cool.
Nelson
But
was cool. Nelson was really cool. Nelson's stuff was great, I thought. Yeah, alright, I thought he was cool. But I mean, Indra, I think, still could be the queen based on what Shade Hater was saying to Murphy. He said, how you respond to the loss of your queen is really important, or something along those lines. And I don't know if that was Amori, if he was talking about maybe trying to kill Amori soon, or if he was talking about Indra, because I felt like he was talking about Indra in that scene. But we didn't even see her in this episode. She spent the entire episode off camera, which would make it it'd be very strange if she's the queen and in Queen's Gambit she doesn't make an appearance. It doesn't connect at all for me. So pretty confusing. But we did get some neat stuff with the people on Bardo. I thought that there was a little bit of exposition there. Of course, obviously the end where we saw Bill, Mr. Cardigan.
Cardigan?
Yeah. Cardigan, I think it is. He seems like a really interesting character, and I think I know where they're going with the key. I think they're gonna try and take her blood and do something with a chip, because there was a big focus on Maddie and her trying to hide her blood. She was talking about how she wasn't allowed to play soccer because they were afraid that if people learned about her blood that she'd be in danger. And I feel like from what they saw on Bardo and all the memory stuff, Clark may have been the only person that they were aware had night blood, the black blood that can support the flame and that type of stuff. So it may be that Cadigan's body's getting old and he wants a new host. She's the key to help him.
He doesn't seem that old. He was in cryo sleep or something.
Yeah, it makes sense because the Allegius people had those cryopods, and he didn't look. Yeah, he still had some color in his hair.
He was 50 something probably. I don't know.
Maybe he's dying of something. Maybe he has something they can't cure. It wouldn't make too much sense because they seem pretty advanced and they could just send people off into the Penis planet. the whatever it is, the
Penance?
or Sky Ring, and like do research there. That's what I would have done. I've said that before. I would have all my researchers go there and solve. And if he had any health problems, they would just focus all their resources on that.
So I really don't understand why they didn't do that. Is there some advantage to being on like the planet they're on? I don't think so. They're all underground anyways.
Yeah, and they're just like pushing buttons on the anomaly stone. They could have done that pretty much anywhere. I think the anomaly stone on that planet, maybe, is that underwater or is it just the anomaly that's underwater? I can't remember if they even found the anomaly stone on that planet. There has to be one, I think, if they're connected to everything else.
On which planet?
Sky Ring.
Oh yeah, it's underwater. It's in the middle of the lake.
Wait, wasn't there something in the basement though? I feel like there was something in the basement.
Oh, you're right. No, it was in the basement.
Okay,
wait,
I'm just remembering it now.
It was in the basement, but the portal was in the lake?
It's a little bit
Doesn't
far
really
away.
make sense.
They're not next to Nakara's one wasn't right next to it, so I guess it needs like a little bit of space
like
or something.
It was in like an intestine, so it was moving around.
Who knows? We're gonna find out more about Nakara soon, as well as this war in heaven. I feel like
I don't think we are gonna learn more about Nakara.
I think there's gonna be some connection to other things because Anders said that he didn't tell you about Nakara. Like you thought it was a heaven. There's probably more to it than it's just like where they put their dead. I think that kind of seemed to hint at there's more to that story.
Maybe.
And we should get those answers, I think, in the next few episodes. We may not get it in the next one. It depends which characters we spend most of the episode with. Maybe we're with Gaia. I don't know where she ended up. But maybe she's where they're going to have to go to fight this war. Maybe, yeah, there's another faction out there that we haven't met. I'm not too convinced about that. I mean, the war to end all wars is to evolve their species, so maybe he wants to go back in time and fight something. Maybe he regrets lighting the planet on fire. Somehow I doubt that. I think he's okay with killing all those people way back when. One line I really liked was Gabriel's thing when he was asked to join the Cypher team. He said, "Do I get a robe?" That was a nice fun one-liner. This show's always been good at one-liners. At least they had that.
They have some zingers.
Some zingers.
Some are not. And I
Yeah.
felt that a lot of the lines were pretty predictable in this episode particularly.
Yeah. With Hope and Dioza is very on the nose.
Yeah, I don't know.
The hugging it out with Octavia
there was
and
a lot of
Echo was
mending
okay.
relationships
Yeah.
and crap, and it's like,
Yeah, we don't
do we
need
really
that.
need that?
No.
They could have done that in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, we didn't need it with a couple sets of characters. If they want to do it with one set of characters, that's okay. But we got that with Echo and Octavia as well as Dioza and Hope. It was just too much of the same, and I really felt like 20 minutes into the episode, like there'd been way too much talking and not enough action. They put some action in there, but it was just like it wasn't very. There was no hype.
Because they went and hid away all the cool characters except for Murphy and Amori.
Yeah.
Who were doing piddly crap this episode.
Nelson had some great stuff. I thought that whole interaction with him and Amori in the tavern was really interesting, and how he was still calling her by that name even by the end of this episode. He hadn't called her Amori. He didn't like break the illusion for all of his followers, which makes me feel like he still will actually help Amori. He's gonna save her. I mean, they seem to end it on that cliffhanger so that we get to theorize on it and worry about her. But I think she's safe. I don't think she's in any real danger after actually watching how they got to that point with him pointing the gun at her and what he said after that. I think he actually really appreciates the effort that she made to reconnect him with his family, and unfortunately the father just wasn't ready for that. Would have been so much better with Murphy there. Shade Hater was right. I think if he just said, trust us, this is the right thing, that would have been enough to keep him from losing it in that moment. But I guess the fanatics don't like Kaylee Prime. She wasn't a true believer, according to them. Did too many nice things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, according to Shade Hater, it's all about perspective. So yeah, I guess it's important for that whole interaction. He saw what she did as very evil and very horrible. How could you make these abominations? But yeah, I mean, he's dead. He can't have a change of heart now. But I think that doesn't mean all the rest of the children are lost causes. the stuff with Amori talking about her family was, I think, pretty powerful because she hasn't had many lines, at least, where she talked about it. So it's nice to see that she wishes she got to meet her family and that she doesn't hold that against them. I mean, I doubt she'll ever get that opportunity unless they do some time travel, which I don't think is entirely out of the realm of possibility, but pretty unlikely at this point.
Seems like a lot to pull off in like, what, 9 episodes or something?
How are they going to save Bellamy? Could happen. I mean, Nelson seemed to say that he doesn't want to kill any innocents. That, I think, may be what pushes him back onto the side of one crew, or whatever we're calling them at this point. So when Nikki loses it and starts doing some really bad stuff, maybe kills his mom. If she does that, then I think Nelson's going to be back on their side again. I don't know if Amori really did like being worshipped. I mean, I think she likes being comfortable, but I feel like Shade Haida and Murphy were they were reading too much into her, just like not having to go with too much like terribleness.
Well, I think she likes to have a purpose, not necessarily, be in power or anything, but I think she likes to have a purpose because a lot of her life was not necessarily purposeless, but like,
She's looking out for herself.
She was only with herself.
Yeah. Now she gets to look out for a community, and that feels really good for her. She doesn't have to just look out for herself. If she looks after them, they'll look after her. And
well, in theory.
That's kind of what she had with the people in the arc, She started to warm up to that whole idea, and it's great to see her actually start to like extend and build on that actual, like, I don't know, trust, and being part of a community. Like they said, revenge is a game with no winners. That was Dioz's line. So I think, Amori and Nelson, that kind of mirrored that, and we're gonna see that Nelson will probably come to their side because of that. Just the line seems to indicate that to me. I like that Hope called Dev her foster dad because I was really unsure of
Did she say foster dad?
She didn't say foster dad, but she said my dad taught me to fight.
Yeah.
And then she learned about her real dad. I've forgotten his name, but you know who I'm talking about. McCreary, I think it is. Yeah, so she seemed to get over the fact that her dad's a psychopath pretty quick. She didn't seem to care that much, apparently.
What does she care? He's dead.
Yeah.
She's not gonna meet him.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who he was.
Dios is the only one that.
Well, I guess
has told
the
her
other
anything about
prisoners
them.
and stuff, but they probably don't even know.
I can't remember.
I can't remember if they knew or not. Yeah.
I mean, Gabriel never met him.
Feels like it was a long
right?
time ago.
Like, did Gabriel meet? No, Gabriel never met him. That was the season before. I'm glad that they are going to be joining the disciples now, working alongside them, because I have a feeling like they're not going to be the villains at the end of the season. I think the disciples may end up being their allies. I mean, it'd be kind of weird to have them be recruited and then have the disciples just try and like kill Clark for her blood and have them to have to run away again. That seems unlikely. I think they're actually going to stay on the side of the disciples for quite some time. But who knows? I mean, do you agree?
I did not really think that was a possibility. No, because
they've killed too many disciples at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, the disciples seem fine with working with them. They don't want revenge. They're kind of
The thing is like, I don't really think that they are working with them. Echo wants revenge.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't. She's ready for war, but she's not ready for war on the side of the disciples. She's infiltrating, in my opinion.
That sounds right to me, based on her history.
And I think all of them are on that wavelength. They're not like really interested in fighting on behalf of the disciples.
I mean, she may have been actually taking Bellamy's words to heart in that flashback. Loyalty is your weakness. Like, I get that, you care a lot about me, but that leads to you doing things that you know are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And if she's actually warming up to Octavia, it seems to me like maybe she did take that lesson to heart.
They did spend like 3 months together, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's possible.
They're pretty close now, right? Are you saying when they're in the prison cell, is that 3 months?
I don't know how close they are. I mean, Octavia was literally sitting on the bed, like, screwing around, and Echo's over there like scarifying her
Yeah,
face.
just doesn't
she
notice.
didn't even notice.
She's in her own headspace. She was thinking about it.
Yeah, what the heck?
What do they want us here for?
You know that room's not that big.
Yeah,
like,
you can probably
what the
hear
heck?
that too.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, Echo's pretty cool. Maybe she just is like super quiet about it.
Well, she was like crying. So, anyway, whatever.
I missed that. I didn't see the tears.
Well, she was making like noises like she was crying. I don't know if she actually was. She was, yeah, noisy.
Who knows what we missed? Well, we got to know that there's a 13th floor. They went from level 10 to level 13. They call that the sepulcher. How do you say that?
Sepulcher.
Sepulcher chamber. I don't know that word. I don't know if you know that off the top of your head, or do you?
I was gonna look it up, but I forgot.
Oh, you totally
It's
forgot.
not a good word.
It's not a good word. Is that
Don't
like a
think so.
resting place for the dead or something weird?
I don't want to guess.
It sounds.
I'll
I'm gonna.
embarrass myself.
I'm gonna say that's what it was. I don't have anything else here in the notes. I think that I want to talk about. Is there anything you want to throw in here before we wrap up this one?
No, meh.
It was.
Looking forward to next time. You know, I don't think anything in this episode is like super exciting and memorable.
Yeah, we didn't watch the.
I hated
next time.
watching Maddie in this episode. It was such a terrible scene. It was so unnecessary.
Yeah. Well, there was.
I mean, maybe it'll be more. What?
All of the drawings, I think, have been
Oh.
very important, and they're kind of burying them in the Maddie scenes and not putting Mitch in there,
You know
so you
what
don't
that
pay
probably
attention.
is? It's probably some kind of latent memory from the whatever
Becca, the
the
flame.
flame.
Yeah.
Of the second dawn.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
green stuff.
I didn't get a close enough look at it, but it looked like just
It
kind of
was
like shining
bright light with
Yeah.
people standing around it.
Yeah.
That seems like if all she got was a little glimpse
Yeah.
of a memory, I could totally see that being one of the stones, like the stone on Earth.
Mm-hmm. That could have been them going through the stone on Earth. Yeah. That sounds like.
Why not?
Yeah.
What else would it have been? Like a nuclear explosion? I mean, no.
The crystal giants? I don't know. Probably not. Or whatever they're going to war against. It could be those things that are very dangerous. But yeah, Jackson is now their therapist. That was kind of funny. I know you didn't like it, but I thought it was kind of funny.
I did not like that.
All right.
It was fine. Whatever. Ugh. Okay.
Cool. We'll see you around. Have a good one.